May 12, 2023, Solnechkhogorsk, Russia. 22-year-old Anastasia Slabakova was at home with her grandmother when she received a call from an unknown number. The man on the phone introduced himself as a courier. "I have a parcel for you. Please come downstairs to collect it." For Anastasia, there was nothing particularly unusual about this. She was an active social media blogger and often received followers, gifts, and attention from admirers. So she left the apartment in casual home clothes and slippers, expecting to be back within minutes. But there was no courier waiting downstairs. Instead, she saw 32-year-old Alexander Berezyuk, a man she had previously been in contact with and had later tried to cut out of her life completely. The moment Anastasia saw him, she realized she had been tricked. She ran back into the building and raced up the stairs towards her apartment on the 9th floor. Alexander did not chase her up the staircase. He took the lift. By the time Anastasia reached her floor, the lift doors were already opening. Alexander caught up with her directly outside her apartment. There, he attacked her with a knife, inflicting multiple stab wounds. Her grandmother was on the other side of the door. She could hear Anastasia screaming and desperately tried to open it, but she was unable to get to her grandmother in time. Neighbors rushed to help. One of them was reportedly a doctor and attempted to stop the bleeding. An ambulance arrived, but Anastasia's injuries were too severe. She died before she could be saved. So how did an online admirer turn into a stalker and eventually a killer? And how did a relationship that began with likes, messages, and expensive gifts end in murder? To understand that, we need to go back several months. Anastasia grew up in a close family and initially chose a very different path in life. After finishing school, she enrolled at the Moscow University, connected to the Ministry of Internal Affairs, where she studied in a field related to forensic investigation. But after her first year, she realized it was not the life she wanted. She left and began searching for something that suited her personality better. She experimented with online businesses, including selling cosmetics, before becoming increasingly interested in social media. Instagram became more than just a place for photographs. Anastasia began creating professional content, organizing photo shoots, filming humorous videos, and documenting her travels. She eventually started offering advice on social media promotion and reportedly dreamed of becoming an actress. By 2022, she had increased the image of a confident and independent young woman building her own life. Then, towards the end of that year, one of her videos was seen by Alexander Berezyuk. At first, he was simply another follower. He liked her posts, reacted to her stories, and reportedly tried to attract her attention. Eventually, they started messaging. What began as ordinary online flirting quickly became more intense. Alexander began sending Anastasia money. He reportedly paid for things such as beauty treatments, restaurant visits, and other expenses. He also gave her expensive gifts. Later, he claimed that he had spent approximately 1 million rubles on her. Anastasia apparently saw these gestures as gifts and courtship. She did not believe that accepting them created an obligation to enter into a relationship or have sex. Alexander appears to have seen things very differently. Berezyuk came from a wealthy and well-connected family. His father had worked as a diplomat, and Alexander had access to significant financial resources. He traveled, played amateur football, and presented an affluent lifestyle on social media. In February 2023, Alexander returned to Moscow, and he and Anastasia began meeting in person. They went to restaurants and spent time together. But the relationship Alexander wanted never developed. Anastasia began distancing herself. Eventually, she blocked him on social media and tried to end contact completely. For her, that was the end. For Alexander, it was not. He began contacting her from other phone numbers and allegedly attempted to reach her through new social media accounts. He then obtained the phone number of Anastasia's mother. According to her mother, Alexander called demanding to know where Anastasia was. The conversation ended with disturbing warning: pray. From that point, the situation escalated. Investigators later concluded that Alexander began preparing for the attack in advance. He learned Anastasia's address in Solnechkogorsk and traveled there before the killing. He had a knife with him. He also brought a change of clothes. And most importantly, he created a false story about being a delivery courier. The purpose was simple: to get Anastasia to leave the safety of her apartment voluntarily. On May 12, the plan worked. Anastasia came downstairs expecting a parcel. Instead, she found Alexander. Realizing the danger, she ran. She chose the stairs, possibly because she feared being trapped with him inside the lift. Alexander used the lift himself. The lift reached the 9th floor before she did. When Anastasia arrived outside her apartment, Alexander was already there. The attack happened only meters from safety. Her grandmother could hear everything from inside. After the stabbing, Alexander fled the building. He reportedly entered a neighboring apartment block and went to a communal balcony on the upper floor. There he changed clothes. Blood-stained clothing and a knife were later found inside the backpack. Investigators also said he attempted to harm himself before eventually leaving the area and traveling towards Moscow. Police quickly identified him. Later that day, Alexander Berezyuk was arrested near Kuznetsky metro station in central Moscow. He did not successfully escape. During the investigation, his defense attempted to argue that the killing had occurred during an extreme emotional state, but a psychiatric examination found him legally sane. He understood what he was doing and was capable of controlling his actions. The prosecution also pointed to evidence of perpetration. He knew Anastasia's address, had brought a knife, prepared replacement clothing, and used the fake courier story to lure her outside. This was not simply an argument that suddenly became violent. There had been preparation. In October 2023, Alexander Berezyuk was sentenced to only 11 years in high-security penal colony. That's only 11 years for a deliberate murder of a young girl. He was also ordered to pay compensation to Anastasia's family. Anastasia Slabakova was only 22 years old. After her death, much of the online discussion focused on the money, the expensive gifts, and the question of why she had continued communicating with Alexander.